Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Michigan is in mourning after at least 4 people were killed and even more injured after a shooting at a church. And folks continue to remember the 10-year-old Breathitt County boy who died in August, with lawmakers wanting harsher punishment for abusers.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday to you, Mountain family. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this September 29th, 5 o'clock this morning, and time for a look at our weather with Megan Dusmall. Megan, it's hot this week. I checked that weather app earlier. 80s. So much of them.
Yeah, a lot of 80s. It's going to continue throughout most of this week. Now, the good news is some folks are going to look at some upper 70s, so it's not terrible all across the region. But I definitely am looking forward to this week because we're seeing a little bit of that break from the rain again, so it's going to be nice and picture-perfect weather. Here's a look at what you can expect this morning. Mainly a mixture of the upper 50s and low 60s. This afternoon, well, that's when we're looking at a mixture of the 80s. This is one of the warmest days of this week. We'll see slight cooling throughout the next couple of days, but nice and dry as you're heading out the door. Nothing really at all to be interrupting that forecast other than, for some folks, a little bit of some patchy fog, mainly as you go into the very center of our region. Amelia.
At least 4 people are dead and 8 hurt after a man smashed his pickup truck into a Michigan church Sunday, then started shooting and set the building on fire. Police say the suspect was killed in a shootout. CBS News correspondent Tina Kraus reports from New York.
Flames and heavy smoke rose from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan after the early morning attack.
I need manpower up here ASAP. I have people trapped in the building. Repeat, people trapped in the building.
It happened during Sunday morning service. Police arrived within 30 seconds of a 911 call.
I saw 4 tarps at the time. I don't know what's left there now, but 4 body tarps. The church is engulfed in flames, not much left of it.
Police identified the gunman as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, a Marine veteran from the nearby town of Burton. They say 2 American flags were in his pickup truck that crashed through the church doors before he opened fire on hundreds of worshipers with an assault rifle.
They were shielding the children who were also present within the church. Moving them to safety.
Police say the suspect used some sort of accelerant to start the fire and had explosive devices with him. The FBI is calling the shooting an act of targeted violence.
You never know what a person is going through. You never know what is going on in a person's mind.
Authorities say officers chased the gunman after he left the church and killed him in a shootout. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Police say 2 of the victims were found in the burned out debris of the church. Some people are still unaccounted for, and that death toll could rise. A Kentucky author and advocate for harsher punishment in child abuse cases is proposing legislation in memory of 10-year-old Jaden Spicer. Joe Clark says if passed, Jaden's law would impose stricter protections for children and increase sentences for abusers.
Anybody that's ever convicted of a crime against a child will be forbidden from ever having custody of another child.
No bill will ever file is going to be, sort of the silver bullet to stop it. But I do hope that this brings attention to a tragedy.
State Senator Brandon Smith of Hazard backs the bill, and you can learn more about the legislation on our website, WYMT.com. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet has started installing automated speed enforcement devices in highway work zones. It's the latest effort to keep workers safe and drivers accountable. The cameras come after the Kentucky General Assembly passed the Jared Lee Helton Act earlier this year. Among the first places to receive cameras this week are a US 25 work zone in Fayette County, an I-75 work zone near Corbin, and one on I-64 in Shelby County. Additional work sites will get these cameras throughout the fall. Daniel Cameron made a trip to Pike County Friday, discussing his campaign to fill the Senate seat that's been held by Mitch McConnell since 1985. The former Attorney General hosted a meet and greet at the Garfield House in Pikeville, discussing his platform and plans with those in attendance. He says the Commonwealth needs someone who will uphold traditional values, so he's working to travel across the state to meet with potential voters ahead of the primary election to see what they want from a senator and explain how he hopes to meet those in need.
They want a representative in Washington that's going to stand up for their values, stand up for common sense, frankly is not afraid to proclaim the name of Jesus Christ, and will fight for our coal and natural gas, fight for our energy independence.
Cameron is one of several candidates looking to fill McConnell's seat. His Republican opponents in the May primary include Congressman Andy Barr and businessman Nate Morris. Well, several Kentucky State Police troopers were honored during an award ceremony in Frankfort Thursday. Trooper Nicholas Taylor with Post 9 in Pikeville was awarded Trooper of the Year. Public Affairs Officer Scotty Pennington with Post 11 in London was recognized as Public Affairs Officer of the Year. And we do have a link to all of those recognized on our website, WYMT.com. President Donald Trump will meet with congressional leaders from both parties at the White House later today ahead of a possible partial government shutdown on Wednesday morning. Lawmakers will have to quickly compromise to get a funding bill passed in time to stop a shutdown. CBS News correspondent Tina Krause reports on the negotiations from New York.
The federal government is at risk of a partial shutdown with just 2 days of funding left. Democrats are demanding that any deal include more money for health care.
We want to find bipartisan common ground to find a spending agreement that avoids a government shutdown and actually meets the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety, and their economic well-being.
Senate Republicans blame Democrats for the impasse, urging them to approve a 7-week spending bill that's expected to be up for a vote tomorrow.
The ball is in their court. There is a bill sitting at the desk in the Senate right now. We could pick it up today and pass it.
Sources tell CBS News President Trump is not optimistic about a quick solution when he meets with congressional leaders later today. He has threatened to lay off federal employees, going beyond temporary furloughs used in past shutdowns. Some Republicans are backing the president's possible approach.
I've criticized Trump on things, but the one thing is on the hiring and firing, I think he's going to win every one of those cases.
Democrats say the president is not doing enough.
He should be doing what presidents do and saying we're going to find a deal to keep the government of the greatest nation on earth open.
The last shutdown was during President Trump's first term, spanning 35 days from December 2018 into January of 2019, making it the longest in U.S. history. Tina Krause, CBS News, New York.
Republican Senator Rand Paul says he opposes the short-term spending bill, which means Senate Republicans need at least a handful of Democrats to prove it for it to pass. President Donald Trump sparked outrage this week with his address to the United Nations, calling climate change, quote, the greatest con job perpetrated on the world. The president urged countries to abandon wind and solar, labeling them a scam, and pushed for more American oil, gas, and nuclear energy. His remarks come as scientists warn fossil fuels are driving deadlier heat, floods, and wildfires. And as reports show, renewables are now among the cheapest source of energy worldwide. Well, thanks so much for getting your day started with us on Mountain News this morning at 5:07. Coming up on this week's Does It Work? A brush to make cleaning easier for those of you who love to break out the grill.
And a drier trend is setting in for this week.